If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is April the 10th, 2023, and today the topic is how to love God. Happy Monday, y'all, and happy brand new week. I hope that you guys had a wonderful resurrection weekend. Mine was just fine. I truly cannot complain. A quick recap of what your girl had going on this weekend. After I did the juice on Saturday, I had a chit chat with the ladies of the juice small group. We are nearing the end of the small group season for the spring. I'm praying and seeking the Lord about whether I'm going to continue my small groups in the next season or not, or if I'm going to do something different or what. So we're going to see what the Lord do. But yeah, I got with the juicers on Saturday and, had a little conversation with them via Zoom. And then later on that evening, me and my little family, we went to the extravaganza at Mountain West. Even though it was rainy and cold, I am glad that we pushed through and went. First of all, we weren't the only ones to push through and go because it was packed, okay? Second of all, I'm glad that they transferred the festivities inside, even though it made everything a little bit more tight. Because there was a lot of kids and a lot of people, X, Y, and Z, and they were doing the egg hunts inside and things like that. They had a lot of other little festivities and things going on as well. They had face painting, popcorn, cotton candy, hot dogs, a Peeps competition, Peeps eating competition. They had a little petting zoo as well. So yeah, there was a lot of little things that was going on. But it was a nice little evening. I'm glad that we went. Actually, we had NJ to sit in service with us because I knew that he was going to be in church all day or in his service all day Sunday. So I just was like, maybe he should sit with us because it was me, my husband. He came as well. So that was something, you know what I'm saying? So God be the glory for that. So since it was all of us, I just was like, why don't he come in and join us at the regular service? And everything went good. Like, he did pretty good, sitting in the regular service. He, got up there and praise and worship with me and everything like that. And my husband was a little hesitant to stand up because he's tall and he was feeling like he would be blocking somebody's view or something like that. I was glad to be there in the middle of my two guys. We took some photos and things like that. So if you follow me on social media, actressmiraclesims.com, you may be able to see some of the photos that we took that evening. You'll see my little guy got his face painted like a tiger, which I don't think he liked. Afterwards, I know the rest of the evening, he just kept talking about it, being like, I don't want to be a cat. I want my regular face. I want my brown face is what he was saying. And I was like, first I was like, who told you he was brown? But on one hand, he does know his colors and whatnot. So now I know my husband was thinking that his mom might have, told him. But either way, it was nice to see that he has a great sense of self. Like, that's one thing I have observed about our little guy. He knows who he is. And he will correct you if you say it wrong at all. Like, if you be like, I don't know, any little example, like, oh, you're so this. I'm not this. I'm NJ. You know what I mean? Like, I'm Nadario Jr. Like, he will tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, that was interesting to observe. Afterwards, my husband wasn't feeling like getting hot dogs and whatnot. We got NJ some cotton candy and popcorn and stuff, but I was like, do y'all want, to try to go ahead and eat here, or do y'all want to go eat somewhere else? And so we ended up eating at a Taste of Korea, which is like right next to the church in this public complex that is built up over there. They had a bunch of little restaurants, and we couldn't decide where to go. It was funny because there was like 3 places that we were looking into. And my husband was like, oh, I really don't care. And then I was like, I really don't care either. So I was like, NJ, which place do you want to go? And I named the 3 places, and he said Korea. And I'm like, really, kid? But hey, we went and enjoyed a Taste of Korea afterwards. And it was nice. It was nice. They had a little robot to serve us and everything. It was, I didn't realize that was there. So it was a nice little Saturday family time and whatnot. And Sunday, y'all. Okay, so everybody knows Resurrection Sunday, big thing at the church and whatnot. Yours truly, me. I was performing a piece for the children in the elementary room. And so I created this character. I named her Miss Geraldine. And she was pretty much telling the Easter story, but by telling the entire biblical story, which I found to be very interesting. I guess the script was provided by Orange Kids, so shout out to Orange Kids for everything that they do, because Mountain West is using their system, I guess, to, teach and whatnot. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about it overall. I did 3 shows, so I was there for all 3 services and performing that piece in all 3 of the services on Sunday. Again, if you follow me on Actress Miracle Sims, then you may... Then you may have seen some images of your girl with a big old fro. But that's Miss Geraldine. Okay, that was Miss Geraldine. And so, yeah, I mean, it was nice. I think it all came together. I got a little bit of footage and whatnot, so maybe I'll start to share a little bit of that on social media. But there's photos out there now. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the opportunity to perform. I'm thankful that, again, my gifts are being used for the glory and honor of the Lord. And I'm grateful that, again, the overall message of the piece that I did was very, simplified for the kids to be able to understand, the whole biblical stories. I feel like that was a beautiful thing to be a part of. And I hope that it, resonates with them and that it sticks with them throughout their life and everything like that. So anywho, that's my weekend in a nutshell, y'all. That's what your girl had going on. Those that may tune in live, you may notice that your girl's recording much, much later than usual. It's almost 7. And it's not because I wasn't up. Honestly, I kept hitting snooze this morning. I kept allowing myself 5 more minutes here. X, Y, and Z after the time woke me up around 4 because, or the clock, after the clock woke me up around, or the Lord through the clock, however you want to say it, woke me up around 4. I just was still tired, I think. And I guess something allowed me to just keep getting rest. And I was like, okay, well, 5 more minutes then. Okay, well, X, Y, and Z. And so, maybe I got up around, I was going to say 6, but maybe it was 5:30 something. I don't know. In between 5:30 and 6, I was listening to the prayer meditation and everything like that. And falling asleep and everything like that. So I really don't remember much of the prayer meditation either. But by the time the Lord did finally allow me to wake up, right? I noticed that, last night at some point, it had to have been at 12:30, I woke up and I took notice of the time and I looked up the verses and whatnot. And I went back to read that verse. And I noticed that this is a verse that has just been coming up repeatedly over the past week. It was something that I had to mention in the performance piece that I did. I told y'all last week, me and my husband had several conversations as well. And I felt like the verse kept getting brought up, and here it is again. So I was like, okay, Lord, what, am I missing something? Is there something you want me to see here? And this is the verse, y'all. It's Mark 12:30. It says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all of your strengths. So, yeah. And I guess that's what ultimately had me asking the question, well, what does it look like to love God? Or how to love God? And so, I started looking up verses centered around that idea. And here we are. Here we are to have this conversation. And here I am to share these verses with you all, of what I was receiving today about how to love God. So, one of the first verses that stood out to me this morning was John 14:15. It says, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." So, listen, as a parent, I'm already using this phrase. My little guy, my son, he'll quick to be like, "I love you." Well, you need to listen to me, son. If you love me, you will listen. So I get it from that perspective now. Now that I'm an adult and a parent, I'm using the phrase. So obviously, I understand. On another level, what God is saying to us. Say, if you love me, you'll listen. Just like I tell my son, right? But let's go a little deeper, because this thing about the commandments, y'all, I don't know why this thing keeps coming up, but here we go. Here you girl is to, I guess, share my little humble opinion again based on Bible and whatnot. But before we get into that, let me get into another verse. 1 John 5:3. "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not burdensome." So I know last week when my husband and I were talking or whatnot, on one hand, I don't know if we were debating. I don't think so. But anyway, we were talking, debating, however you want to look at it. And I'm letting him know, like, he's like, "Oh, you're talking about the commandments, X, Y, and Z." I'm like, "Husband, the whole point is that none of us could fulfill the commandments. That's why Jesus did what he did, because none of us could fulfill it. So he came to fulfill it, to honor that debt that was that was owed by all of us, and that's the beauty of what Jesus has done. Like, if we could do it, then we would have did it. One, and then two, we struggle with what Jesus said. Like, Jesus pointed out two of the commandments to be the most important, and we still struggling with those. So let alone the 10, and let alone the hundreds that were created on top of the 10. So, I still stand by that. I don't know if the Lord's wanting me to see something different or whatever the case is, but at this moment, I still stand by that, because at the end of the day, again, if we could have fulfilled the commandments, if we could have done it, then Jesus didn't have to do what he did. He didn't have to come on down and, be a representative. He didn't have to, be on the cross and be that sacrifice, or none of those things. And so, not making light of the laws, right? Not taking away anything from the wisdom that comes with the commandments and the laws and everything like that. But just saying that, we as humans, I believe that we do see the commandments to be burdensome. Even just the random, not say random, even just the main two that Jesus presented. We still see it as burdensome for whatever reason. Even though it's very simple. Like, one of the lines in the piece said to the children that Jesus' message was simple. Love God and love others. It's just that simple. But we complicate it by, I guess, trying to find our loopholes, trying to, make it more than what Jesus said, So anyway, I'm going to share with y'all some more Bible, because again, y'all could think that miracles just talking and all of that. So 1 John 4:10, it says, "In this love, not that we have loved God, but that he loved us and sent his son to be propitiation for our sins." So I did not look up propitiation today, and I feel like I should have. So by all means, let's do that. Let's go deeper and make sure we understand that word completely and whatnot as well. But from what I know about what Jesus did, that means it means to be a sacrifice for our sins and everything like that. But again, let's go deeper and see what exactly that word means. But see, that's the thing. Like, as I was starting to look up these verses, I saw more gearing towards about God's love for us, that I had to start to be more specific about looking for verses centered around how do we love God, like how to show our love for God. and what that looks like. And yes, these verses are clear about the commandments. They, keep the commandments, X, Y, and Z. But hey, here goes something else for y'all, all right? Matthew 16:24. It says, "Then Jesus told his disciples, 'If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me.'" So, in my humble opinion, this is another way to show our love for Christ, take up our cross, deny ourselves, and to follow him. And so that means in all things, right? Again, what would Jesus do? Like when different things that we come across in life, that's the type of questions that we need to be asking. What would Jesus do? Or also asking, is this pleasing, right? Is this a way to show God's love? Is this the way to show God love? And then is this a way to show love for my neighbor? That's what I'm constantly receiving here, but let me keep sharing verses, y'all. So then James 2:10, it says, "For whoever keeps the whole law but fails in one point has become guilty of all of it." So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying what I said earlier about, at the end of the day, we can sit here and be saying, "Oh yes, okay, it tells me to keep the commandments, so I'm keeping all 10, or I keep 8 of them." Well, hey friend, if you feel like it's up to you to keep the law, then it tells us here that even if you fail in one thing, then you're going to be guilty of it all. But my understanding is, and again, I can be corrected here, you know what I'm saying? By all means, the Lord can correct me. Anybody can come and comment or whatever. If y'all feel like y'all getting something else from this or whatever. But what I'm receiving is, if I trust and follow Jesus, right, and maybe even deny myself and follow him, things of that nature, my belief in him is what purifies and makes me righteous. At the end of the day, he, was able to fulfill all of the law, right? And my belief in him is what allows me to have the righteousness and get the grace and the mercy and everything that comes with being a follower of Christ. Now, again, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong, Lord, and people, or whoever the case is, But it's clear in this verse that says that if we fail in one point, that we're guilty of all of it. So, yes, to show love, follow God's commandments. But what are those commandments? Is it the 10? Is it the hundreds? What is it? Well, just to remind us, y'all, this is what John 13:34 says. "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another." So, now, yes, it does say there's verses that tell us love God and then love your neighbors, as you would love yourself, right? But, I was seeing repeatedly verses saying about, talking to us about loving one another, and that being the fulfillment of the law as well. So, hey, and again, I guess you can't love others without loving God, because God is love. Again, you guys can go deeper because there's plenty of verses in the Go Deeper section to peruse and let marinate on your hearts, souls, and minds in regards to this. But I hope and pray that, this conversation today makes us all, want to show our love for God a little bit more. And I guess that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is John 10:11. It says, "I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Hey y'all, I'm Nyla O'Neal with Anchor Providing Institute. We're located at 737 South Hill Street in Griffin, Georgia. Look, this program was birthed out of a will to help and push you closer to your dream, customizing each and every learning path for each and every student, giving you hands-on education with myself and other teammates. We're here to help you and drive you to be the best version of yourself. Look, we're a 12-week program, and it will be vigorous, but it will be worth the work. Put the work in, you will see it in the end. We are dedicated to seeing you not only finish our program, but to get certified. We are an accredited school through the National Phlebotomy Solutions, and we are so ready to meet each and every one of you. Contact us today.